Introduction. Reasoning models, like OpenAI's O3, are a recent development in AI, yet they are improving at an incredible pace. Researchers at OpenAI are optimistic this trend will continue. However, it's questionable how much further the current training techniques can be scaled up. The author suggests that while there is room for growth, it's unlikely that developers can continue to scale these models by many orders of magnitude. If the current trend of 10x scaling every few months continues, it will soon hit the ceiling of total available training compute, possibly within a year. At that point, the growth in reasoning models will likely slow down to align with the overall growth rate of training compute, which is about 4x per year. This could also mean a slowdown in the progress of reasoning models themselves. How much compute is used for frontier reasoning training? This section delves into the specifics of the computing power used for training reasoning models. Reasoning models are built upon traditional large language models and then undergo a reasoning training stage, where they learn from feedback on solving complex problems. The amount of compute used in this second stage is a crucial factor in their improvement. Scaling from O1 to O3. OpenAI has indicated that O3 was a 10x scale-up in training compute from its predecessor, O1, and was released just 4 months later. While the exact numbers are not public, this suggests a massive and rapid increase in the resources dedicated to reasoning training. Insights from DeepSeek R1. Since OpenAI has been tight-lipped about the specifics, the article looks at a comparable model from another company, DeepSeek R1. It's estimated that the reasoning training for this model cost around $1 million, which is about 20% of the cost of pre-training its base model. This gives a rough idea of the scale of compute we might be talking about for models like O1. Insights from other reasoning models. Other models like NVIDIA's Llama Nematron and Microsoft's Phi 4 reasoning have also been developed. Their reasoning training stages were a smaller fraction of their total pre-training cost. However, these models heavily used synthetic data generated by other AI models, which might make them not directly comparable to frontier models like O1 or O3. What can we conclude? It's difficult to pinpoint the exact training compute for O1 or O3. However, the available data suggests that while the reasoning training compute for these models is significant and growing, it is still less than the largest training runs for pre-training LLMs. It is likely not orders of magnitude behind and is catching up fast. What does reasoning compute scale mean for AI progress? The amount of computing power dedicated to reasoning training has significant implications for the future of AI. If the scale of reasoning training is still relatively low, we could see a period of rapid improvement in AI capabilities in the short term. The jump from O1 to O3 in both compute and capability supports this idea. Performance seems to scale with reasoning training in a way that is similar to how performance scales with pre-training, suggesting that more compute will lead to better models. However, once reasoning compute catches up to the overall training compute frontier, its growth will slow down, and so might the pace of improvement in AI capabilities. This slowdown could happen within a year or so. Can reasoning actually scale? Scaling up reasoning models is not as simple as just throwing more computers at the problem. There are several potential challenges. Data constraints. Reasoning training requires a vast number of difficult problems. Finding, creating, or synthetically generating a diverse enough set of these problems to continue scaling is a major hurdle. Generalization. It's uncertain how well reasoning training will apply to areas outside of structured domains like math and coding. Hidden costs. The total cost of developing these models might be much higher than just the direct training cost. A lot of resources are spent on research and experimentation to figure out what works. These overhead costs could limit how far reasoning models can be scaled. On the other hand, it's possible that improvements will continue to come from innovations in data or algorithms, even if compute growth slows down. Researchers at OpenAI and Anthropic seem confident that they can continue to scale up reasoning models for now. This suggests that we haven't reached the limits of scale or capability just yet. That's all for this episode of Geek Capsule. We hope it gave you a fresh perspective on the world of technology. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so feel free to leave a comment or share your feedback. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe and join us next time for another essential read. Until then, keep your curiosity sparked and your mind open.